Hi. So let's cover the first topic, all or nothing mindset. Um, you mentioned, and I I've met that before, that if I don't uh, draw at least 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, it doesn't make sense to draw. Um, so the basic result is that I'm drawing only when I have like 3 hours slot. But let's be honest, how often we can afford this? Um, I can't. let's be honest. For me, this is something unreachable, at least for most of the time. Um, so what I did at the very beginning of my art, I started to think that learning is a journey, right? It's some kind of a road you need to follow, and following that takes time. This is one thing, but it also requires to make steps along the way. Big steps, small steps, tiny steps, even. Uh, and I really by the way, those are my notes. Uh, and why I had to do this? Because I didn't have a lot of time, and I had to truly believe, that making even tiny steps along the way will be beneficial. And I was quite surprised when people that can draw and are professional artists confirm that. One of them is, for example, Peter Han. He is one of my, not the main, but one of my art parents. And Peter Han claims that you don't have to draw 3 hours in one session a day. You don't have to do that. Of course, if you spend 4 hours a day, then you can easily count how many hours you will spend in a week for drawing, right? How many faces, figures, lines you can make with such kind of a routine. But one thing about the drawing, what is really cool, is that it is time investment, right? So let's say this will be faster than, for example, let's say 15 minutes a day. However, if you do this, you will get to the same results. You can get to the same results, but just slower. And that's the main, let's say, the main truth I want to leave here, and I want you to think about that. Whenever you draw, you are making a progress. whenever you draw, your hand is working. Your hand is getting used to the pencil or to other tool. Your eye is getting used to see things like an artist. And it's a different type of seeing than regular. One of the painters was asked if he is looking at the tomato the same way when he is painting and when he just wants to eat it. And he said, no, it's totally different way of seeing things. And I experienced that. I'm currently in a point where I do experience the difference between those two. We need to get used to a grip, for example, like, okay. We need to train the shoulder to make so the lines are flowing. They are not stiff. They can be delicate. They are not very, it's not, just for the record, it's not like this grip is more professional or better than this one. It's like a tool. It's just a different tool to achieve a different type of effect. At some point, this is simply easier to, I don't know, for example, to cover some things, or just to make a long stroke just with your shoulder, right, than this one. Also, it gives you better visibility. But about those things I will be talking about in the following episodes. So, getting back to the all or nothing mindset. When you have 4 hours time slot, that's awesome. Use it. But when you know that your schedule is quite packed during the week and you cannot afford to have so much time, then think about those little steps, those little time slot, like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 page, as a little, small or tiny, but step forward. It will bring every single line you do brings you closer to the goal, closer to the point where you don't think about your lines, you don't think about your shoulder, you are just those like hand and pencil will become like transparent. But to go there, you need to go, right? You need to move, you need to travel in this art journey. There are two gaps or two traps that you may face in your head, because this is very important. This is a mindset, right? So this is something that it's inside. This is simply inside your head. There is no external force to tell you that you need to, I don't know, this or, well, sometimes it is, but regarding drawing, it's just your brain telling you that you need to sit for 3 hours. But you can decide to sit for 10 minutes because you have time. Within 10 minutes, you can draw 20, 30 seconds poses. And they will look like this, most likely, right? There are shoulders, hips, there's action line, there's something like this and something like this and something like this, perhaps, right? There are plenty of ways to draw quick poses. You can draw the single lines, right? But it is a representation of human body, and that thing doesn't have to be pretty. It has to be drew in a conscious way. So you are thinking about action lines. You're trying to spot the angle of the shoulders, the angle of the hips, right? And it's something that requires an ongoing work. After, I don't know, I truly loved the exercise during the character design course that we took, the both of us, about the quick poses. But it took me 9 weeks to go through, all of that. But it was an awesome exercise. But this is something quick you can do. So the first trap is about the time slot. How long you should draw. You should be drawing per day, and there are plenty of answers. I like, because I don't have time. I like those answers that every single line matters, and simply I need to just find some time a day. If I don't, and it's not because of my laziness. Sometimes you are very tired. Sometimes simply you don't want to draw. But just be careful and try to. Sometimes you need to overcome this, because at least I have something like this. When I think that I should draw something, and I say, well, not today. Today is not a good day. But actually, when I force myself to sit next to the drawing board, or I'm drawing in a different places, like I'm using this is let's say an A4 sketchbook, but as you can see, I'm using those are just some old printed A4 sheets of paper. But it works for me when I'm on travel, or just I don't want to sit next to the board, or I need to sit with my daughter because she is doing her math and I want to be close to her and be able to help her and be able to draw at the same time. And running around with the huge drawing board is not very comfortable. It is good to have a drawing board because then you can use your shoulder. The movement is wider and you can practice the flow. But if you have an A4, that's also fine. I would not recommend something smaller because that is how to say it. It gives bigger sheet gives more possibilities. Let's say even for the hand, right? Because you can decide to draw something here, so you can put your hand more on the sketchbook, right? So you can move on the sketchbook, not in the air, at least part of your hand. Okay, so that's about the time. The second